Hi, I'm Kenny Joya. Welcome to another one of my tutorials. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create effect sends and returns in Reaper. Now, the purpose of creating effect sends is so you can share effects among many tracks. Now, you can do something similar with folders, where you add the effects to a folder to combine multiple tracks sharing the same effect, but then you can't add different amounts of the effect to each track. By using effect sends and returns, you can. So let me show you how to do it. I have a track in front of me here with 4 drum tracks and a keyboard. Let's hear what it sounds like. So it's a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, and a shaker. And then I have a keyboard in there as well. Now I want to add some effects to the drums to make them sound more live. So let's try a reverb. Now if we put a reverb plugin on each one of these tracks, all 4 of them, it's going to take up more DSP or CPU processing than you really need. I want to use the same effect or reverb on all 4 tracks. I just want different amounts being added to each track. So let's start by creating a track which will be an effects return. I'll double click down here. Let's name it reverb or drum reverb. And then we'll add an effect to this track. I'll go to the Reaper plugins right here, and I'll choose reverb right here, which comes with Reaper. Now when you're using effect sends and returns, you want the effect to be 100% wet. So we'll turn the dry down completely and bring this up. And what that's going to do is going to keep our dry sound on the individual tracks and the completely wet sound with reverb on the effects return, giving us more control of our effects. So let's add a module to this plugin. I'll choose the reverb generator, and let's make this a little bit bigger, the room size. And now let's send a drum track to this effects return. We can go right here to our snare, under our routing, and just drag it and drop it right on this track. Notice how the cursor changes? And that creates an effect send right here. That's going from the snare to our reverb. Let's solo the snare, and let's adjust how much reverb we want. That feels good right there. Let's hear it in the track. Before. Let's do the same thing for our kick. We'll drag from the routing to the drum reverb. And that creates a send here. Let's solo the kick. That should be enough. Let's hear that in the track. Without. Now let's say the same thing to the hi-hat. Let's hear that. Let's do the same thing for the shaker. Let's hear that in the track. And we could bypass it by just muting the effects return. Now, if you want to readjust how much effect we're sending to the reverb, we can go to the individual track on its routing, and adjust it here, or we can go to the effects return, its routing, and we can adjust them all right from here. Our kick, our snare, hi-hat, and shaker. Let's try the same thing with another effect. Let's try a delay. We'll make another track. Down here, we'll name it delay. Let's put a delay effect on this track. Once again, we'll go to the Reaper effects right here and choose Read Delay. And again, we'll turn the dry effect completely off and the wet effect completely on, or 100%. Let's adjust the delay to be a 16th note, which would be half of an 8th note, or 0.5. And now let's send the snare to this delay. Again, we'll drag from here down to here. Let's solo it and send it some signal. It creates a nice rhythm added to the drum part. Now to make the delay sound more real, let's add some reverb to the delay. So we'll drag from here onto the reverb, and right here we can add some reverb to our delay. Let's solo the snare and adjust it. Just sounds a bit more natural. Let's hear in the track. Let's do the same thing with our kick. Let's add some delay to it. Drag it down here. Let's add some delay to our kick. Without it, and with it. It adds a nice movement to the part. Let's add a little bit of delay to the shaker as well. Drag it down here again. And like with the reverb, we could adjust all the sends that go into this delay in one window. Our kick, our snare, and our shaker. And just like that, we created two effects that can be shared in our project. Now this technique isn't the best for all effects. It's great for reverb, delay, even chorus, flanger, or even phase. But I wouldn't use this for effects like EQ or compression, where you're going to want the full effect the whole time, as opposed to a dry wet blend like we did here. Now one of my favorite things to do when you get a preset that you like on a track is to save it as a track template. Let's give these two a color. I like to use yellow for effects. And then we can save them to use them again. So let's select the drum reverb track, go to the track menu, and save as track template. And I already have a folder for my effects returns. So I'll open it, name it drum reverb. Now that track is saved with the effect on it and the effect settings that we're using. So if I want to quickly add this reverb to another project, all I got to do is go to the track menu, insert track from template, go to my effects returns, and choose that drum reverb. And it pops into that track with the effect already on it and a custom preset or settings that we designed. And we could tweak it or just use it as is, and just send our tracks to that effects return to be used in any project. So that's pretty much it. That's creating effects sends and returns in Reaper. I hope you learned something. I hope you can use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.